how to build a strong and mobile back with one exercise alone. All you need is a back extension. If you go to a general gym, you're gonna have one of these more often than not. You just need to understand the progression, okay? Majority of people have low back pain in some sense, whether that be bending in different directions or bending straight down. I don't care if you're an athlete, I don't care if you're a grandpa. You need to be training the low back to be able to build a good sustainable base, but also open up below and above to be able to have mobility. The simplest way to get into the back extension is literally just an isometric hold. So, for example, just hopping in here, and the second that I'm at 45 degrees, there's already tension on my body. There's already tension on the low back. The most difficult part of this movement, let's say if I were to go down and get a rep, this is easiest part. I'm just feeling a deep stretch in my hamstrings, decompression in the low back. But as I come up, and once I hit that 45 degrees, there's the most tension. I'm squeezing my glutes, my low back is active. So the easiest way for you to start gaining some blood flow and rebuilding a chronically weak low back like I had is literally just this isometric right here, holding for 60 seconds, and you'll be able to start to feel a bit of blood flow. It's kind of like doing a calf iso or holding a push-up or a plank. You're basically holding a plank for your low back and just building up stability, right? Everybody does planks, but do you ever do planks for the backside, right? And that's why we have this imbalance. Most people go to PT, they only work the front of the core, and then this side is completely weak and imbalance between sides. And so holding this, giving time here. Once that feels comfortable, you can then move on to single leg isometrics, just like this. And if it's too much, then you literally just start here, holding and just being active, engaging that glute, making sure that the toe is engaged into the bottom of the back extension. And we're just holding here. 30 seconds to a minute is really solid. And again, I'm already feeling a pump in the low back just by sitting here talking to the camera, right, just like this. And you guys will start to notice, oh wow, it's literally a plank for the backside of the body. And again, just getting blood flow to an area, whether it's chronically weak or you have pain or flare-ups, is still better than resting or icing or just kind of avoiding the area, right? Because we want to continuously build the backside core. So again, that's sort of the progression: double leg iso, single leg iso. And then once we start to get into a bit more range, we want to start to open up the hamstrings, the glutes, the low back, etc. So I like to use the handles with some clients that I've had that have had chronic issues, let's say herniated disc, sciatica, etc., and just working to a level that they can handle getting to that 45. Because if I go past, there's no tension. So I want to stay here and continuously work. Again, as I go down, it gets easier. As I go down and deeper and deeper and deeper, I start to feel a real deep stretch in here. And then I'm pressing back up to the top, right? And just with body weight alone, that's 3 reps right there. I have a very strong low back now, but I'm already getting a pump. So it's almost like the back extension is just the easiest way for you to be able to start to gain strength very fast with minimal amount of reps. The key thing though is tempo. So again, let's say assistance is no more, I'm coming up and I'm getting that full range body weight rep. Getting the deeper and deeper I get, the more stretch that I can get on the backside to relieve my low back of the compression that people may deal with on a daily basis from constant sitting. And again, this is the steps in which you can take to rebuild an area that's been so weak and tight for years. I'd say a good 5 reps with a 3-second tempo on the way up. Back to that 45 degrees is the next step. What comes after that is starting to then get more and more repetitions with double legs. So for example, boom, 1, and working your way up to 15 reps. I'll hit that real quick for you. So that's 15, literally just body weight. And again, I feel like I'm good for today. Being able to just rep that out, feel comfortable, is massive. I could never get to that range of motion for a long time when I was playing Division I college football. Most football players should have a very, very strong core. I thought this was the core. I didn't realize that there's this, and there's this. Now this, I like to think in a way in which, for someone who's dealing with low back issues, use this, the same repetitions that you would for the front of the core. So let's say you're hitting your sit-ups, your V-ups, your L-sits, your hip flexion, right? Working these movements. Hit the same amount of repetitions for the back extension to balance out the front and back side, right? Why? Because for athletes specifically, and even everyday people, walking in general, you're using your low back regardless. And so if you're constantly strong here, but weak here, it creates this pelvic tilt, and then you're walking here. And then if you only work the back side, right, then you create the anterior tilt, and you're walking here. So after those 15 reps, the next progression would be to go to single leg, 10 reps on each side with good control. Again, with the back extension, you'd like to have it a little bit below your hip height. This is perfect for me. So you don't want to be so high up here, just a little bit below the hips. Now I'm going to get 10 reps, both sides, body weight. Okay, that's the next progression. Now we're getting to the point where we're really building a strong and mobile low back, right? Why do we work single leg? Well, more often than not, back exercises, whenever you feel a low back flare up, they don't normally happen bending down like this. It usually happens from side to side. And so that is the reason for balancing out that single leg. And that's the next progression from the double leg. Then we start to get into things more athlete focused, more loading the movement, building like a great foundation for you to be able to get into these crazy positions and not have the back flare up at all. And so when we start to load the movement, this will be a good example for if you can squat 2 plates, easy. If you could squat, full range of motion, you should be back extension. You should be hitting the back extension with at least a barbell on your back, something Zercher weighted, either single leg or double leg. So I'll show a bunch of variations, these are a bit more advanced levels. And I just started from that ISO, and we're continuously working our way up to that advanced sort of standard. And again, all I'm doing is working the same movement, the back extension. So I can add a kettlebell, start to finally add load. Again, how do I make it harder for myself? Control the way up. Squeeze those glutes. Fight the way down. Feel that stretch. Control the way back up, right? You want to master double leg at every next level and then move to single leg, okay? So for example, if I'm hitting 8 reps with the kettlebell, I like to go 4 to 5 reps single leg and then master that range with full control on both sides. Okay, and then finally, adding on the barbell is probably the most advanced standard that you want to get to if you're an athlete who really needs that strong low back. To be honest, if you just hit very high repetitions with just your body weight alone, 30, 40 reps in a session, like added onto your leg day or whatever it is, that'll give you enough resilience to be able to have a strong low back. All I'm saying is when we add the barbell, we're obviously trying to gain and build significant muscle from that back side. So the barbell is really just a purpose for guys that really need to build that strong foundation. They really want that strong low back. Again, once you get to this standard, again, I progressively worked to this point. We're now at a level where I have zero low back pain. Absolutely none. And so, but again, it took me a long time to be able to hit all of those levels. I'd say a good, at least 4 to 5 to 6 months of me progressing each and every week, right? And making sure that I wasn't working through pain, that I wasn't having a low back flare up mid-session. I was working at the level that felt good. So this is that final level. I like to go Zercher, getting as deep as I can. Again, we're mastering that double leg first. And then finally getting to that single leg. Really getting that stretch as deep as we possibly can on both sides. So again, those are the standards in which you want to get to with the low back. And all you need is really this movement right here. Now let's say you don't have this movement. What would be, I have 3 different examples in which you can literally use a staircase or a slant board. Let's say you have it. I could leave my link in the description to be able to get the ATG slant board, $25, the mini one with the code. Again, these are more simpler movements that won't necessarily help you gain as much strength, but you'll still be able to build some strength and gain that mobility. A lot of people mainly have back pain because of significant weakness, but also tightness back here. So once they relieve that tightness, they see a massive difference in the amount of pain that they're feeling. So what's sort of a level down from the back extension? Jefferson curl. So I like to use a slant board for this. I like to put feet halfway on, halfway off. You can then work to a level where you're a little higher. But again, this is just, I start here, I'm bending as deep as I possibly can, rounding to the bottom. Having hands touch the floor is a good goal. If you're here, cool. If you're here, cool. Again, just think about rounding as much as you can and then controlling the way back up until you have that flat back and you're able to flex. Like this is mimicking a back extension just with body weight. So I'm getting as deep as I can. Hands to floor is a great standard to be at. I'm just continuously coming up. I like to tuck my chin, but I'm just going to hold the mic here just to make sure. But I like to tuck my chin here. And then I'm pressing back up with every rep. So Jefferson curls are a great example to work on as well. To work unilaterally, you can work the pike pulse. Pike pulse, I also use the slant, okay? We're going single leg now. So all we're doing is just using one leg at a time, similar to that Jefferson curl. So quad is flexed. I'm getting as deep as I can, no difference. Feeling that stretch and then pressing back up. Very, very simple, and you're still being able to gain benefits of the low back without the back extension. Let's say you don't have one, okay? Make sure we get the same amount of reps on both sides with the same intention. Also, as I come up, I'm still having more and more tension as I come up. With the bottom, it's just a deep stretch, right? And then as I come up, it gets more difficult until I get to the top, okay? So the pike pulse is another example to work single leg. And the easiest possible way we can start to gain some sort of relief is the elephant walk, okay? If you guys have seen my Instagram page, I've maybe talked about this movement 100+ times, okay? And there's a reason for that. Because it's the simplest way for you to scale to a level that feels okay for you to be able to gain some sort of mobility. You can use a staircase. I'm using the ATG mobility box. All I'm doing, feet shoulder width apart. I bend down to a level that I can handle. I'm using this for pure assistance, okay? I'm not having all my weight on it, right? I'm just using my hands for assistance. I bend both knees, and then I extend one leg. And I'm consistently sort of activating that back leg with every step. Bend, and then switch sides. And I'm just being really, really active here. Again, I like to tuck my chin and get here. You want to make sure that one leg isn't further out than the other. You're really compact here. And again, how does this scale? We continuously work our way down and get deeper. And what is this mimicking? This is mimicking that pike pulse almost, right? This is the same sort of motion that we have here. Again, you want to continuously work to a level where you can again get that palms to floor, staying active on both sides, both legs. And so this is the easiest possible way that you can start to gain some relief with the low back, okay? The simplest way, though, and why I wanted to call this video literally just one exercise alone, is because this back extension has done me wonders. Everybody kind of walks past it in the gym. It's literally probably one of the most important pieces of equipment if you want to balance out your hips and low back on both sides. Follow the progressions that I broke down for you. Make sure that you don't work through pain. But again, if you're a kid or a grandpa or an adult or a parent that wants to play around and be mobile, and they've constantly been in the PT only working these hip thrusts and core movements and planks, hit the plank for the backside. It's crucial, and you'll start to notice benefits very, very fast just by using that isometric alone. So I hope this video helps. Leave a comment if you'd like to see any other different topics of me breaking down certain things. I'm going to continuously break down the low back for you guys because I feel like it's the most complex part of the body. And I feel like once we unlock that area, as I did myself, you're then able to see so much change in your athletic ability, in your mobility, in pain, just everyday life. And yeah, I just got good posture right now, man. So yeah, I hope this video helps. See you next time. Stay locked in.